Welcome. Today we're going to talk about solving inequalities. This is with one variable, and we'll be solving them on a number line, or graphing them on a number line. So step one is do out any distributive property. Step two is combine like terms on the same side of the inequality. Step three, get all the variables on the left side of the inequality. Now, we will have an example where I'll show you two ways to do this, but in general, that's what you should do. Step four, get rid of addition or subtraction with the variable. And step five, get rid of multiplication or division with the variable, with the caveat of it's important whenever you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, you must change the direction of the inequality symbol. Okay, so here's our first example. X minus 16 is greater than 4. Step one, I have to get rid of the subtraction. There are none of these other steps needed until step 4. So I'm going to add 16, just like you would if there's an equal sign. X, not equals, right? So common to write that, but x is greater than 4. Now if I had subtracted 16 from both sides, I would not be changing the inequality sign, only when you multiply or divide by a negative. X is greater than 4. When it has no or equal to symbol, we are just going to use an open circle, not a filled in dot, over the number 4. Sorry, I wrote that wrong. That should be 20. I just copied it down because I was thinking of other things to say. Sorry about that. X greater than 20. Here's 20, and obviously it has to be 20. It couldn't be 4 because 4 is not even on our number line, and that's going to be a hint for you to see whether or not you're correct. So open circle over the 20, and then an arrow. When you have the x on the left-hand side, this is how it works. X is greater than 20. So the bigger numbers are what we want for x. And so the line goes this way. Now, if you're not sure which way to write it, if x is on the left only, then the line goes the direction of the inequality symbols pointing. However, if you're not sure, or your x is on the right-hand side instead, take a number from either side and check it and plug it in for x. Does it give you a true statement? If it does, then you're all set. That's the direction. If it does not work, like if I tried 18 bigger than 20, no, it's not true. So therefore, that side is not the side we're going to draw the line to. All right, let's take a look at another example. Please notice in this one, negative 40 is less than negative 4n. Now I could move the negative 4n to the other side, but that doesn't really make sense here because there's not variables on both sides and it's only a single term. So you have a couple of options. The first option is you can just solve it the way it is and then move it. For example, if I divide both sides by negative 4, I divided by a negative. I now have to change the direction of the inequality. So this becomes 10 greater than n. Now that's not how we would normally like to write it. So instead I'm going to put the n on this side and the 10 on this side. When you change position like that, when you swap sides, you have to turn the inequality around. So now n is less than 10. The other way you could have gone about this is move the stuff first. I'm going to switch sides. So I'm just going to take this and put it over here, this over here. Negative 4n, negative 40. So I've turned it around. So I'm going to turn the inequality around, and this becomes a greater than symbol. Now I can go ahead and divide both sides by negative 4. n, now I divided by a negative, so I have to turn it back around, is 10. It comes out the same both ways, either way you do it, so there you go. N, now this is not or equal to, is compared to 10, and it's less than. So all the values below there. That's how you do it. Here's our next example. All right. 8n minus 2 greater than 14. Hoping I have some, oh good, I have some or equal to's there. I did something I didn't mean to do. Delete page. Now let me go back to this one. Okay. So 8n minus 2 is greater than 14. Step 1 here is to get rid of the minus 2. Now if you go by your order of steps at the beginning, there's no distributive necessary. Like terms are already combined. Variables already on the left. Getting rid of addition or subtraction is our first step we really need to take here. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I meant to do that in a different color. Let's do that in a different color. Okay. So that gives us 8n is greater than 16. I'm going to divide both sides by 8. N is greater than 2. So open circle over 2, arrow to the right. There you have graphing the inequality and solving the inequality. This one's a little different. I really need to get rid of the division before I try to get rid of addition or subtraction, because it's kind of like it's 7 is dividing the parenthesis of the top, because the top and the bottom are like division, and it's got parentheses. So I'm going to multiply both sides to get rid of the division by 7 here. So that's going to give me negative 21 is less than or equal to v minus 7. Now again, I'd like to have my variable on the left, but you could solve first and then move it, or you could move it here. It's up to you. You could add 7 to both sides and have the inequality symbol with v over here, and this gives us negative 14, and then turn it around and say v. Now when I swap sides like this and I've done no operations, I have to turn the symbol around. So it was less than or equal, so now it's greater than or equal to. Now when you have the or equal to, you're going to fill in that dot above the number. So I'm going to put a solid dot above the negative 14, and the arrow is going to the right in this case. Now if you weren't sure, try a number on this end, negative 8. Is negative 8 bigger or equal to negative 14? That's a tricky question. The smaller the number is without the sign, the bigger its value compared to one that has a bigger value, absolute value, that is. The negative 8 is closer to 0 and compared to the negative 14, so therefore it is a larger value. So it's a little tricky there. All right, let's take a look at another example. This one you have to distribute first. That's my suggestion. I suggest you distribute it. So you have 12n plus 3 greater than 87. I then would suggest that you subtract 3 from both sides. 12n greater than 84. Divide both sides by 12. N is greater than, let's see, what's that, 7, right? 7 times 12, 84, 70, and 14, yes. Okay, so open circle over 7, and an arrow in this case to the right. I think that's it for us. Nope, one more. Now, variables on both sides. When you have variables on both sides, this is definitely a situation where you are going to try to do all those steps. There's no distributive property, so the second step is to combine like terms on the same side of the inequality. In this case, the -4 and the 3 make -1 minus 6k less than 9 minus 4k. The next step in this process would be to get all the variables on the left. Anytime you have variables on both sides, I suggest you move them so that they end up on the left. So that means I'm going to take this one and add the opposite of it to both sides. Add 4k. That gives me -1 minus 2k less than 9. I'm then going to get rid of the -1 by adding 1. It's the opposite of -1, so I add 1. That gets me to -2k is less than 10. And then I have to divide both sides by a -2. That changes the direction of the inequality. K is greater than -5. So open circle over -5, arrow to the right. And there you have it. That is solving and graphing on a number line inequalities. Later this week, we'll be working with graphing linear inequalities, meaning on an XY grid or a coordinate grid. And that's it for today. Have a great day.